Okay, well, we're out here today. We have a failing cesspool over here. As you can see, it's pretty well shot. So the good thing is the homeowner has an adjoining lot next door that already has an in-ground system on it. So what we've done is we've located the pipe that comes out of the house, and we're going to go ahead and put some tanks right about here where the machine is, along with a pump tank, and then we're going to pump it the whole way over to this other lot. So it's going to have a 2-inch delivery pipe coming up here. We got to cut the driveway, and then the old distribution box for the old trailer that used to sit over here is right here. So we're going to tie into that D box, but we're going to move it up here a little bit further, put a new D box in. Right here, the old tank, that's where it's at. We're going to pump that out and crush it in and get rid of it. So let's get started. Okay, so our pumps come from our suppliers with everything you see here. There's the power float, there's a watertight plug on there. This pump's a Gold's WE 0311L. It's a 3rd horsepower pump, 115 volt. Okay, here's the female plugs to go into the wiring from the house. This is the alarm float, and this is the alarm panel that goes in the house to let you know if there's a problem. So what we're going to do now is build the pump, and we'll show you how we do that. So this is our 2-inch delivery pipe. This will be going up and out of the tank and then continue out to the new distribution box. These are the clamps there. And it has this little plastic bracket for holding the float. So we want this to be about 100-gallon dose 3 times a day. So to control that, we control the length of this pigtail here. So you want the pump to always be covered with water. So this will kick on here. When it gets down to right there, it'll kick off. So this pump should always have at least that much water covering it. Run this up through here. So these plastic clips that hold this wire, I don't particularly trust them for long term, because after a while they do get brittle and they break. So what I generally do is I tape it as well. And you want to bring this wire. So this is your float wire, this is your power wire. Okay. And just to keep extending that up. Alright, now we'll set this on the ground. Okay, so the floats are set, the power wire is set. Then we just try to tie everything together somewhat neatly so that nothing can get tangled up in the floats. Then once it's all hooked up, we'll hang all this from the riser. You just try to do it as neat as you can. So our supplier, they tie everything together. They tie the float wire and the power wire together there at the shop. So when we get it out here, this is how we get it already hooked up and together. We just got to hook it up in the tank. Alright, so that's all hooked up and ready. Just tape it on to the pipe temporarily. Until we get it set in the tank. So at the top of this pump, you'll have a 90 degree, and then you'll have this union. That way if there's ever a pump failure, you can take it out and change the pump. And then from that union, it'll go out of the riser and up to the distribution box. Okay, we're back out here today getting everything tied together on this system. So here's the old tank up here by the trailer that used to feed this drain field. And we're going to do away with that tank. I got the pump truck coming right now to pump that. But while I was up here, I wanted to show you, here's the new D box we put in. So, and that T coming into it, the 2-inch T is a manifold that has 3/4 inch holes drilled on the bottom side, so it gets equal distribution throughout the whole box. And then of course, those are the drain lines going out to the field lines. So this system has 4 trenches, and we're hooking into each one of those trenches. The green things you see here on the ends of the pipe, those are flow equalizers. So we can actually, they're called dial-a-flows. We can dial in each trench so every trench is getting the exact same amount of effluent. So we got one more to hook up yet. Got 3 of the 4 done. So that's all that tied in. Show you this delivery line. This is all old piping from the old tank. So here's the 2-inch delivery line that runs all the way up from the pump tank. So this delivery line is at a constant uphill slope. That way when the pump shuts off, any water left in the line runs right back to the tank and nothing can freeze. Here we had to go under the driveway and cut the driveway. So that 2-inch pipe underneath the driveway is actually lined inside of a 4-inch pipe. So all this down here needs to be bedded yet. Here's some wires and plumbing going out to the garage that we had to tunnel under. And I have one more section of pipe I have to put in, and then hook it up to the pump and get some risers on. So that's all hooked up. That's all hooked up from the house. We put a clean out where we hooked into the house there. That way if there's ever any problems, it can be snaked out there. All right, well, let's get these risers. All right, we're gonna pump this tank up here. All right, so there we go. Our tank is pumped. It's empty, ready to be crushed in. We'll take care of that later. Okay, well, we're out here today. We just had our inspection. Everything's hooked up. I wanted to show you this water pumping up here to the D box so you can see how that works. Those dial-a-flows there, we've already set those. We just had our inspection here a minute ago. So there it goes. Everything gets pumped up to this manifold, as you can see. And that just helps create equal distribution throughout all 4 lines. So it's pumping good. That's the smallest pump that Gold's makes. That's a WEO 311L. So that's working good. Everything's tied in down there to the old drain field. Go down here and show you the pipe. So that's the pipe going the whole way down. We're going to cover all this up here in just a moment. Pipe's coming down here. We've got it all bedded. This is the old washing machine line that went out to a pit. We've disconnected that and hooked it up to the septic. This white line there is electric going to the garage. So it comes down here. This is all sealed up where it comes into the riser. And then there's our pump. Those plugs there are one's for the alarm and one's for the power for the pump. We'll come up here. This is your outlet side of the second compartment. That blue thing is a cartridge filter. That's what that looks like. So these need cleaned periodically, but it keeps things from getting into that pump tank. If you come over here, this is your first chamber. That's the baffle for the first chamber. And if I stick the camera in, that's your inlet baffle right there. Come up here, this is your inlet pipe. And we've connected that to the old pipe coming out of the house. And we've put a clean out in case there's ever a clog, they can do it out here. That'll get cut off to grade here when we start backfilling. This gray line is the conduit for the electric for the pump. So the power wire and the alarm wire both go through there. Okay, we're gonna start backfilling. I'm gonna go over here right now to this old cesspool. We're gonna dig that up and start caving it in and filling it in. Okay, so here's the cesspool. This is the cesspool. Matter of fact, it's a very big cesspool. So you look, that thing's probably 8 feet in diameter. We pumped this yesterday. This is all water that ran back. So you can see, let me see if I can get a little closer without falling in. You can see that it's all just cinder block dry stacked in there. What we're gonna do, we took the top off. Now we're gonna bust all that cinder block out and fill it all in. The top was a mixture of concrete and concrete lintels from the block plant. That's what they had for a lid. Part of it already broke. That's probably why they put the lintels on top. As you can see, it's just total failure. It lasted a long time though. Okay, we're up here at the old septic tank. I just uncovered the top of it. So as you can see, it's not very big. It goes from that edge to right here. So this tank is probably about 750 gallons. It's only single compartment, but what I wanted to show you was, if you look down here, this is the seam. That's the seam of the tank right there. So this tank is actually an old two-piece tank. This is the bottom half and this is the top half here. And they would come set them and they'd put a piece of mastic in here in between that seam to keep them from leaking. But over time they end up leaking. That mastic will fail or the concrete will fail. And that's when we end up having to replace the tank. So if you ever open the tank up and it's only half full, that's why it's leaking out that seam. So we'll try to video this of busting this up and filling it in. Okay, well, we're finishing up here today. We got everything covered after the inspection yesterday, and today we're just doing final grading and seeding and strawing, and also power raking the yard. So I've already power raked down there where the tanks and everything are. Some of this I still have to do. It'll even it all out and pick up the majority of the rocks and roots and different things. So this part up here, it's not even really part of our job, but the homeowner wanted some grading done up here to get some humps out, and I figured while I was up here I'd go ahead and rock hound it as well. So we'll try to get some shots of that so you can see how this machine works. Here it is. This is a Bobcat landscape rake. Different companies make them. There's one that's a rock hound. This one's actually made by Bobcat. It does pretty good, and it's a whole lot better than hand raking like we used to. Okay, well, we're finished up here. Getting ready to pull out right now, here in a few minutes. But here it is, all graded out. Tanks are in. Got seed and straw down. Cesspool's gone. So we swept off the majority of the driveway. Have to get a little bit more of that yet. But we're all done. So we're going to finish hooking up the skid loader on the trailer and on to another job.